Jesus has been preaching through the synagogues of Galilee that the kingdom of God is at hand. And he's gathered a group of disciples, some of the inner circle, and then there are a wider community of people who are beginning to identify as disciples. And he takes them up onto this mountain, possibly overlooking the Sea of Galilee, that's the traditional site, and he begins to teach them. And the opening words are what we call the Beatitudes. Now, who were these people? Well, they were the poor, oppressed. They didn't really have much going for them. The Roman overlords were dominating everything politically, so they had limited freedom. They were living in Galilee, which was, from a spiritual point of view, known as compromise, Galilee of the Gentiles. The Pharisees and the Sadducees and the spiritual elite within Judaism lived in Jerusalem. That was the holy city, whereas Galilee was the place of laxity and of compromise. And the third aspect of their life was that financially, they were quite challenged. It was hard to make a living. Their fellow compatriots couldn't afford to pay a lot, and the Romans wouldn't pay a lot. So whether you were a fisherman or a tradesman, it was hard to make a living. Hence, there were people like the tax collector, Matthew, who is writing this gospel, who had made the most of the opportunity, shall we say, to make a decent living. However, Jesus comes and says, the hope for you is that the kingdom of God is coming. And each of these beatitudes, happy attitudes, start with the word blessed. That's the traditional translation. Most of the modern translations go for that. And it really means to be happy, to be envied because you are in a good place. But they didn't feel they were in a good place. Well, Jesus is turning the tables. He's saying there is a secret to happiness that you can find in this present world. It's not that everything's going to change and so you're suddenly going to be living the kind of first century edition of the American dream. It's not that. It's that you know the kingdom of God is coming. The king has come. And he is ushering in something that will change everything. And as you put your trust in him, so you will find the secret of joy, even in the present world, which remains unchanged, where there's going to be sustained hardship, persecution, opposition, challenges. But Jesus says to his first disciples and to us, who probably live, many of us, in much better conditions than the first disciples, he says, follow me, and I will give you my peace, my joy, because my kingdom is coming. We set our hope not on things that are seen, but things that is unseen. It's Jesus and his kingdom. That's the secret of happiness. And we'll look at these one by one in coming weeks and see what we can learn and apply to our own lives.